Shalom, shalom, Israel. Coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing, this is edifying. First off, giving all praise, all honor, all glories to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachach Wadash. Double honors to the apostle and the elder bishops of Great Millstone, and all the teachers out there pushing this word in truth with truth and sincerity. May you be the elect. Shalom to all the Akim and the Aquath out there listening and learning. You Israelites, so-called Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, who are the true children of Israel, as well as you speckled bird, Israelite foreigners, the Israelites that look like, act like, and take on the customs of all these heathen nations. So to you, I say shalom. This lesson is brought to you by the Spirit and the power of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai. Yahweh being the true name of our Father, the God of the Bible, the God of the Israelites, Ba Hashem meaning in the name, and Yahushai being the only begotten Son of Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls by the name of JC. All right, this lesson is by this news article from May 15th, right, just about a week ago, from the Israel 365 News. This is Rabbi Pesach Walicki. All right, it says, using the Bible to tell the truth about Israel. So keep in mind who made this, right? Going by the name there, you know he's a small hatter. All right, so keep that in mind, that these liars have created this article. Right, you gotta learn how to, take what you can from the bone and spit the bones out. All right. So without any further ado, all right, the headline for the article: Rabbi Pesach Walicki uses the Bible to tell the truth about Israel. It says, in the aftermath of October 7th, Israeli society was thrust into a new and brutal reality. What followed was not only a war on the ground, but a wave of misinformation and anti-Semitism that shocked the global Jewish community. Many who once stayed out of the spotlight suddenly found themselves called to action. Among them was Rabbi Pesach Walicki, who stepped into a new leadership role as executive director of Israel 365 Action. With clarity, conviction, and Bible in hand, Rabbi Walicki has become one of the most articulate defenders of Israel in the public sphere. Yeah, well, I beg to differ, because the only ones that's defending the gospel, defending Yahweh Yahweh Shai, are the men of the Lord, the Israelites of the Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, and namely that of Great Millstone. But I digress. It says Israel 365 News sat down with Rabbi Walicki to understand how his life and work have changed since October 7th Hamas attack. I got a lesson going on into that. Hamas, all right? It says Rabbi Walicki didn't hesitate to explain how deeply the war has impacted his personal and professional life. Quote, well, it's changed significantly, he said, not the least of which is that I have children who have been in combat, fighting. So there's been a lot of prayer. Well, I'm going to stop right there, because the IDF, they don't even fight fair. They going against civilians, fighting against civilians. That's some pussy ass shit. And see, why don't you go put your boots on the ground where there's real conflict? Because the IDF been getting their asses whooped in every conflict that they get into. But y'all God's people though, right? So how come your God ain't with you in your battles? Let's keep reading. It says, but the change extended far beyond his personal life. Until October 7th, my work focused on what we would traditionally call Jewish-Christian relations, interfaith work, teaching the Bible, connecting with Christians, and their love for Israel in biblical and spiritual terms, he explained. I never shied away from politics, but it wasn't my central mission. That all changed after the attack. According to Rabbi Walicki, much of the Jewish establishment was unprepared for the level of advocacy suddenly required in the face of global hostility. After October 7th, I realized that the mainstream Jewish establishment and Jewish media were caught flat-footed. Pretty much everyone else has abandoned Israel. Good. Not just the left. Even many of the right, who don't come from a biblical perspective, have turned on us. He quickly identified where help could come from and where it needed guidance. Well, the reason why your allies and your foes are turning on you is because the men of the Lord, the true men of the Lord, all right, through the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, have been able to go out on the highways and hedges and teaching this word directly and correctly and letting people know who the true Jews are and who are not, but claim that they are. All right. The world is figuring out very quickly who the true enemies of the world is. All right. And it's it's the bagel eating people. All right. It's the Chala clan. Ha ha. All right. The world is figuring it out, man. And not only that, but these devils are letting it, be known, rather knowingly or subconsciously, letting the world know who they are by their actions. All right. So it says he quickly identified where help could come from and where it needed guidance. Quote, our major base of support in the world is the Christian community. Yeah, because they gotta have somebody to fall back on. Right. And of course, their forked tongues, they know exactly what to say and how to say it to these wacky tacky Christians. All right. But many of them don't have the political background or talking points to counter the misinformation, claims of genocide, lies about the war with Hamas. They know the biblical reasons to support Israel, but they need help cutting through the noise. That's where I come in. Yeah, see? Because they need somebody with a perfect forked tongue to be able to spread these lies. All right? Because the information is already out there exactly when he speaks about the genocide. This information, this is already public knowledge about what IDF have been doing. All right? Graping people, whether to be male or female, children or adults. Okay? Them carpet bombing. All right? Totally just decimating Gaza. And mind you, this is pretty much where the majority of civilians are. Okay? They have no say in, shall I say, they have no defense on what they've been doing. All right? This is all public knowledge what they've been doing. It's almost some misinformation. It's not misinformation. You all spread misinformation. You've been doing it for centuries. Okay? And now the world is seeing that everything you've been saying is a fucking lie, man. All right? It says faith and politics, inseparable forces. One of Rabbi Chaliki's most compelling insights was his rejection of the notion that faith and politics should be kept apart. He says, I didn't see any division between faith and politics, he said firmly. It's very popular for pastors and rabbis to say, oh, I don't want to mix faith and politics. And I say that is cowardice. He pointed to the Bible as his guide. Said Abraham was involved in politics. Isaac was involved in politics. Jacob, Moses, David, Joseph. They were all political figures. The Bible talks about nations, abuses of power, wars. It's full of politics. If you don't want to mix your faith in politics, you either don't take your faith seriously or you don't take your politics seriously. And you can go ahead and read the rest. All right, I'll put the this article in the description box. But the highlight was this here. This is what got my attention to create this lesson. All right. The very end, it says, if you don't want to mix your faith and politics, you either don't take your faith seriously or you don't take your politics seriously. And we know that these small headers do not take their faith seriously because there's a lot of things in the Levitical law that we're not supposed to eat. And these devils do it on a regular basis. Scripture says we're not supposed, a man's not supposed to have his head covered. These motherfuckers wear yarmulkes. Okay? They can't even say God without putting G_D. Let alone saying the names Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Okay? So there's a lot of things that these devils just do contrary to the Lord. All right? So clearly they don't take their faith seriously. All right? So let's get it. Slovakia. God dang it. All right, so the name of this lesson is, if this is your mindset, talking about Rabbi Chwalicki, if this is your mindset, why don't you defend the gospel with truth and sincerity? All right, and again, I put that quote that he said here. Abraham was involved in politics. Isaac was involved in politics. Jacob, Moses, David, Joseph. They were all political figures. The Bible talks about nations, abuses of power, wars. It's full of politics. If you don't want to mix your faith in politics, you either don't take your faith seriously or you don't take your politics seriously. And everyone he named are Israelites. Of the Negroes, the Hispanics, the Native and Seminole Indians, there was no Amalekite that he named. Not one of them. All right? He did not name an Edomite whatsoever. This is Zechariah 1, and I'm going to read 15 and 16. It says, "And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction." Now, why did I read that? What did it say up here? It said abuses of power. All right? The Israelites, the Negroes, Hispanic, and Seminole Indians transgressed the law. All right? We went off. We did everything the Lord told us not to do. And so he put us in captivity. All different types of captivities. All right? Especially with these Edomites. All right? The Amalekite, the self-proclaimed Jewish people. Okay? And what did they do? What did the Edomites do? They went overboard on us. All right? It says, "And I am very sore displeased with the heathen," right? The Edomites and all the other nations, but more so Esau, Edom, and his seed line, all right, "that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction." All right, so the Lord put us on in captivity, right? He put us on timeout, right? Put us on punishment, as it were. But then here come Big Brother Esau and whooping on us while Daddy wasn't looking. So he thought, right? Beating on us while we were in captivity. Making things worse than it should have been is the point. All right? Helping for the affliction. "Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies." Who is Jerusalem? Talking about the Israelites, the Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, and of the elect of Israel. All right? The hopeful elect. Those that's actually returned to the statutes, laws, and commandments, the obedience of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. "I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies. My house shall be built in it." See? And what else? What are these Jewish people? What they trying to do over there? They trying to build a third temple physically, not knowing, all right? Because the scriptures plainly tell you that the Lord's house is with men, all right? The lively stones, which Yahweh Shai, who the word ignorantly calls by the name of JC, is the chief cornerstone. Okay, lively stones, not an actual physical building that can be broken and torn down. Okay, it says, "My house shall be built in it, saith the Yahweh of hosts, and a line shall be stretched forth upon Jerusalem." It's going to be known who's serving the Lord and who's not. Who's of the 2/3, who's of the 1/3. All right, who's the righteous seed, who's the unrighteous seed. Who's those that's slated for salvation and those that are slated for damnation. All right, slated to be destroyed. All right, and then so you can get more reference on this particular heathen. All right, I put down here Isaiah 10 and 5, the Assyria rod of the Lord's anger. Right, the whooping stick of the nations. That's Esau, Edom, self-proclaimed white clan. Okay, that's the ones who've been doing the damage across the globe. Why? Because Esau was blessed with the sword. He was the one made to take peace from the earth. And we know because who's ruling in power these days? Who's been ruling in power for a very long time? All right? Psalm 50, and I'm going to read 16 and 17. It says, but unto the wicked, right, that whooping stick, the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Because this nigga going to sit here and talk about some, he walking in there with the Bible in hand. What you doing with the Bible in your hand? The Bible is not made for you. It wasn't made for you Amalekites or any of you other nations. It was only made for the Israelites. Moses came out of the mount with those 2 tablets for the Israelites. Nobody else. All right. One of my favorites. Well, I got a lot of them. But one of my favorite scriptures, Joel 2:27. I am in the midst of Israel and none else. Roughly paraphrasing. The Most High God, Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai, is in the midst of Israel, the Israelites, the Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, and none else. Nobody else. Isaiah 40:17. All other nations are as nothing and counted as nothing in vanity. Roughly paraphrasing. The Lord don't give a fuck about these other nations, man. He's only dealing with the Israelites. How many times throughout the Bible he's only sent to the lost sheep of Israel? He's only speaking to the Israelites. Yeah, but he was talking to the Gentiles too. No, he was talking to the Israelites that were brought up in all these other captivities and learned their ways of life and their tongues and their customs. So they're considered Gentiles because of that. Okay? He wasn't talking to the actual Gentiles, the true Gentiles. He was talking to those that are Israelites but brought up in all these other, customs and ways. In fact, I'll give you a good example of that us Israelites that were born here in America, we would be considered Gentiles because we're not of the land. We didn't even know we were Israelites until we were told we were Israelites. Gentile, all right? But the true Gentiles are those nations that are outside of Israel that were not Israelites at all. Those are the true Gentile. All right. It says, verse 16, Psalm 50 and 16 again. It says, but unto the wicked the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hast instruction and castest my words behind thee? And don't they do that? Look what they do in these so-called courts of law. They swear on the Bible, right? They swear on the Bible, but then they go speaking lies. They want to take the Bible in hand, but they want to continuously bring out this lie that they're the true people of the Most High. Knowing damn well, damn near everybody in this world got internet and could go look these things up. With the ultimate destruction of their end by the way of the internet, by Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai, by the men of the Lord being on the highways and the hedges, having this gospel go to the 4 corners of the earth. You see? That's why they're the serpent, man. That's why they snakes to this day. Because all they do is lie. This is Philippians 2 and 3. It says, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory. Strife. All right? Violence. Who's doing all the violence upon the face of the earth? Who's constantly putting people in oppression? Who's having people go to work their asses off, only to get back pennies? Who's in charge of people to be able to go buy a house, but yet still have to pay every month on the mortgage? And if you don't pay it, these devils will take your house. Same thing with your car. Don't make car payments. What's going to happen? You're going to get your car taken. You ain't paying insurance. You're not allowed to drive it. Even though it's your car, you're not allowed to drive it. Go ahead. Don't pay for your health care. What's going to happen? All right? Don't pay your child support, which is illegal. Title 4D. Go ahead and don't pay that. They're going to garnish your check because that's how this devil is. He's the real Grinch of the world, man. Right? So it says, Philippians 2 and 3, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory. Who is the most proudest of all nations upon the face of the earth? The self-proclaimed white man. Right? Don't he got to name everything after himself? Don't he have to put his statues up everywhere? Did he not bring Petra on all lands. That same look with the columns and the pitched roof. If that ain't proud, who else? Who else made the Most High God look like them and His only begotten Son, and the prophets, and the angels, and had the whole world believing that they were always on top, when in truth they are the basest of men. Who else is doing that? All right, that's vainglory. Taking Jake's inventions and putting their names on it, putting their logos on it, like the wrench made by a Jake, self-proclaimed white man, an Edomite, took it, put his own patent on it, called it the monkey wrench. Ain't that a bitch? All right, one of America's most favorite drinks in the world, Jack Daniels, was actually made by a Jake, right? A so-called Negro. But again, Edomite didn't give him the credit for it, didn't give him no money for it, and put his own fucking name on it. Jack Daniels. His family living large off that. Vain glory. All right? It says, continue on, it says, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem other better than themselves. All right? What does that mean? That means you don't talk proudly about yourself. You let others lift you up. You let others boast about you. All right? It's kind of like with my business. I don't boast about my skills and this and that. I let my guests do that. Okay? It's easy for somebody to talk good about themselves, but that's you talking about yourself. It's a whole nother thing when other people say it about you on the outside looking in. But these devils, oh no. They in their eyes, they can never do no wrong. They don't do wrong. They always do right. It's just that there was a miscommunication, misinformation that happened. And so they're seen in a bad light. That's how they operate. That's how they think. Okay? This is Ezekiel 25. And I'm going to read 12 through 14. The reason why I'm reading this, all right, because up in here, he's talking about, the Bible talks about nations, abuses of power, wars, abuses of power, wars, right? Politics. Well, that's how the Most High operates as well. What happens when a government tends to go overboard, all right? Tends to go past his policies and things of that nature. What happens? A thing called oligarchy, right? Or a coup d'etat, right? Overthrowing of a government, right? Getting rid of the bad apples to put in new apples, right? Ezekiel 25, 12 through 14 says, thus saith the Lord power, because that Edom, right? Assyria, Amalekites, self-proclaimed white people, right? Thus saith the Lord power, because that Edom have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, right? And hath greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, right? Because Edom hit us, the Lord God Yahweh said he going to hit them. Because he touched the apple of the Most High's eye. He touched the Israelites. He forward the affliction upon us. And so now Big Brother got to pay. He did some stuff he wasn't supposed to do. He abused his power. He made war against us. So guess what? The Most High God has been waging war against Israel, or not the Israelis, Salakia, the Israelis, the Amalekites, from generation to generation. He always got a problem with them. And now we know why. Now we know why. Who created stolen identity? They did. All right. There's a reason why they call themselves Israelis and not Israelites. There's a reason why they took on the term Jewish. All right. Ish meaning pertaining to, not quite. There's a reason for that. Time on deck right now, 2:25. It's like 2:30-ish. Okay? Not quite. There's a reason why they took that on. All right? Again, verse 13, Ezekiel 25:13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people, Israel, the Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians. Getting that get back. All right? And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashai, Bahashem, Rucha, Kwadash. Everybody's going to know who the Most High God is, his only begotten Son, and who the true people of the Most High God is. Everyone's going to know the Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians in that day. And these people are going to continuously see the downfall of the ones that claim to be us. All right? That was pretty much the point. Rabbi Hulicki. And I claim your ass. Lord will, I get you, fucking devil. All right, but that's pretty much it, man. All right, Lord will, this was edifying, giving all praise, all honor, all glories to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Bahashem Rachach Wadash. Double honors to the apostle and the elder bishops of Great Millstone, and all the teachers out there pushing this word in truth. May you be of the elect. Y'all better stay prayed up, repent, abab, abal, kwam, yasharala, shalom.